Okay, good morning all. Just thought I would share a little progress update so somebody can tell me where I'm going completely wrong and give me any feedback, ideas, anything else. Anyway, some of you will have noticed I was looking at sort of variation of the opening range strategy played by Nepal Ruckus on Twitter. His idea, go follow him. If you don't, he shares some good stuff. Anyway, he trades it, I think, mainly on the DAX, or only on the DAX. I've just been looking at it at a couple of other things. I'm looking at it on DAX on here, and set up a couple of rules in my opening range indicator just to try and get some stats over a long period of time without having to manually compile all the data, because I don't like doing that. Anyway, this is what I come up with so far. The strategy is kind of it's a 5-minute opening range sort of fade, I'd guess. I think, or this kind of interpretation of it won't be exactly what the author is trading, but it's certainly loosely based around it. So we're waiting for the first 5-minute bar to form, and we're basically looking for a retracement of that 5-minute bar as price discovery in the DAX takes place. So what we've got here is an opening range indicator that's plotted some lines. This is the midpoint, this is the 5-minute range low. These are 1-minute bars, by the way, just so we can clearly see what's happening. This is the 5-minute range high, and there are some extensions on here. They're basically 50% extensions. I tend to use those quite a lot. So this is half of the range added on, and then again and again. So the first stat we're looking at is basically if the 5-minute bar is closed down below the midpoint, so it's a down 5-minute bar, we're looking to see if it reverses as far as the mid of that bar, which is the midpoint, because this is a 5-minute range. The second thing we're going to look at is if it does get as far as the midpoint, does it go and take out the other side of that 5-minute bar, which in this case will be the range high or low. I hope that makes sense. Because we're looking for a sort of 50% almost, we've just set an arbitrary stop at the 50% extension on the other side of the trade we're taking, which is the little red diamond here. That would show where the stop is. So we've basically got these dots indicate the range here is complete, and then we're in a trade from this portion on. So in this instance, our bar is closed.
Half-hour turn approaching.
Excuse me. We enter the trade. The trade ticks along here until, unfortunately, we get stopped out here because we entered at the close of this bar, waiting for a retracement to the midpoint, and it did not happen. So let's scroll along a bit. I've got about 90 days of data here in the DAX, just as an amount to try. Same thing happened here. We had the 5-minute range formed. We enter at the close of the bar. We're waiting. We got stopped out, unfortunately. That's a bad start, but it's not bad. There's just a couple of bad ones in a row. Sorry, let me update this chart. Where's our next ones? That's another stop out. So basically, the 5-minute bar closed down. We got in at the close of the bar. We're waiting for a retracement to the mid. It almost got there, but it failed. Find some more. There's another failure. That's not looking good, is it? It's really not all bad. So here's one that actually worked. What we have is an entry at the close of the bar. We have a first exit at the mid, very small target, but then we have the second target hit at the what would have been the high of the 5-minute bar. And obviously we went on to hit further extension targets, but we're not looking at those at the moment. It's the same one, isn't it? Here we go. Didn't work, gave up. I'm only checking about the next 20 bars or so on here, just so we're not stuck in a trade forever. Here's one that worked. We got in at the close, we hit the mid, we didn't hit the other side, we gave up. Those are our red dots, which are our stops. Here, fade the bar at the close, hit our first target, stopped out on our second, unfortunately. Stopped out on this one. And we are off to a bad start. Stopped out on this one. I'm sure it looked a lot better than this when I was looking at it before. Stopped out on this one. What is going on? Well, we got both trades worked here. Gave up on this one. Did actually work. Maybe I should have coded that to try a bit longer. This one works. Both targets hit. This one we're stopped out straight away. This one we gave up on, but looks like we didn't quite get stopped out. There's only by probably a tick or two, and then it did actually come back, but again, we're only looking at sort of the first half hour after the 5-minute bar. Here, both targets hit again, in at the low of the bar, out at the mid, out at the range high. And another successful one. Anyway, so each of these diamonds along the mid means we're currently in the trade. The dots at the top here indicate the start of the trade, in that the range has closed. These are our extension upper and lows. Green dot means the target has been hit. So there's another successful one. Again, it went down to the further targets, so I have to look at the stats for that as well. Anyway, as I say, there are, I think, 90 days of data in this test. Yes. And what that in fact gives us (62 sessions. Does that seem right for 90 days? Yes, probably is. We have, these are the stats I'm looking at here, you could ignore the rest of them. Return to the opening range mid before the extension 1, which is our stop, is hit. 62 sessions, 42 times, so 67%. I think that's in line with Nipal Rakos's stats for the DAX. Although he calculates it differently on the close of bar and so on, but I think it's around 67%. Return to the other side, which is pretty much complete reversal of the bar before you get stopped, 45%. So the thing we've got to do now is actually work out if scaling or fixed targets and so on, we can actually make anything from this. Or if I can make anything from this. I know Napalm does make do well out of this. So anyway, let me know if you got any feedback. Let me know if I'm doing it completely wrong. Any other comments, just hit me up on Twitter.